to the black sisters and brothers around the world. Since it has become known that the responsibility to teach the earth, its human population, about love is now in our hands, and we got to do it. What that basically means to all of you is that love is the opposite of the way we've been living. Love is understanding. So, in spite of all that has been done, we got to show that love is better. People have been, and I mean from the beginning of time, living according to a way of life that's destructive of life. They haven't known. They haven't been able to discern. They've been absent the truth. They've been programmed. When the truth come amongst us, wherever in the world it stands up, it is murdered. And usually the people are not familiar with the program enough to carry it forward. So it seems as if they stumble and go nowhere. And then despots like Putin or the guy in North Korea or Donald Trump, people who really don't give any care for others, who are selfish only for themselves, and they take people, set them up, scheme, deceive them, and use them to support their schemes. We talk about black people straightening up America at a time when America wants to deny that slavery ever existed. When while they're denying it, they're trying to create new laws to implement it. This is blatant, and it's right before our very eyes. And it's a call for all black people and people of color to stand up. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Do you really think white people will liberate anybody that they've held in bondage an eternity? Do you really think that? Listen at the Republicans who have spoken against Donald Trump. Men and women of high and great renown. They have said the most vicious things about Donald Trump. And they have been in agreement with what has been said. Remember, a lady was running for president, Nikki Haley. She says that Donald Trump is a criminal. He's unelectable. No one would vote for him. She said that he was old and senile, and he should not even be considered for such a post. And she sat before the American people in her efforts to say that she would be the candidate that could truly represent them, and that they should not even consider a sucker like Donald Trump, but give her their support. This is what she is saying. And then I hear today that she has said that the delegates that she has, she's giving them to Donald Trump. She's supporting Donald Trump to become the next president. What does this say about her character? What does this say about this lady that stood before the American people and said all of those things about why she was a better candidate? That said all of those things about why Donald Trump was a misfit. And yet, she had no shame. She stand before the American people and say, yes, this misfit guy that I told you was nothing, I support him because he is better than what they are worth. And so, you think, my friends, what else needs to be said? Do you think someone is going to make sure that people of color enjoy this life, to assure them that careers and jobs that they desire would be made available to them, to give them, perhaps through their own choice, the greatest joy in that choice? And because they participate in the process of creating the goods and services of this country, goods and services utilizing resources that comes from a power that we can't see, in other words, coming directly from God. And in that process, they create enough food, enough clothing, enough shelter, enough education, enough health care, enough transportation, enough infrastructure, enough all of the things that they do, all of the things that human beings can imagine, and they come together and do because human beings can use and want to use, have a desire to use these resources. Look, my friends, this is what it, and this means all black people and all people of color and all white people and all other kind of people that we might not even know of. If you're a human being, you must live a life that is life, a life of love, a life of truth, a life where you're satisfied. At least this is what God wants to happen. This is what the God of love wants to happen. And all of these other gods that you have out there, and you got many gods, and they don't want you as a people to come together, which means they want you to keep on thinking that you're better. And since you're better, then you are authorized to be above the law. You can do what you want to do, and only the others are held to the law. Well, that should speak volumes. So I'm saying, and I want you black people and people of color to understand why you have been chosen. You've been chosen because you've been persecuted your whole entire existence. You know what it means to be persecuted. You don't want it, and you know no one else wants it. And this is not the retribution coming to get even. This is to come to show you what you don't know. You thought you knew it, you blew it. But here we are, black people, those who you scandalize, those who you can't even stand today. I realize many of you love black people. But at the end of the day, when the Supreme Court and the politicians that have been put in place to abuse others have been given more power to do what they do, other white people who love us are going to say, that ain't right. But you know what? It's going to continue. It's not going to stop by them saying, and when you sit back and say, one day, then what good is that? Today is the day that you recognize that you are the chosen people. You are the people. Now, ask yourselves, if you're a person of color, ask yourself this. What white man, what white woman do you know that you think cares enough about you to put their lives on the line in a political situation? Name. You don't have to tell us. Just name them to yourself. Who do you know? That's what I thought. So, it's up to us. We must represent God. I ain't talking about getting even with nobody. Not taking about anybody's rights. No, we're talking about living free. We're talking about peace and prosperity. We're talking about happiness and joy. And we're talking about living dreams rather than dreaming. And we're talking about you having to suffer for nothing. Why? Because you woke up and changed.